Rain tapped the windows of my parents' Seattle home. The kitchen smelled of coffee, bitter and familiar. I sat at the dinner table, my chair creaking softly. Mom's voice cut through Laura. "Your job's just numbers, right?" Her words landed like a stone in my chest. Emily's laugh rang out sharp, praising her latest court win. My sister, the lawyer, always shone in their eyes. Sophie, my daughter, squeezed my hand under the table. Her warmth steadied me, a silent promise of loyalty. I forced a smile, my lips tight, barely holding. Dad muttered, useless, slicing his steak without a glance. The family photos on the wall seemed to mock me. For years I had swallowed their judgment, their dismissive sighs. My heart ached, but I kept my secret close. Tomorrow at the conference, they'd see who I was. Sophie's eyes met mine, fierce, whispering, "You're enough, Mom." The candlelight flickered, casting shadows on my plate. I gripped my fork, its metal cold against my fingers. Their words tried to erase me, but I wasn't invisible. 5 years after the divorce, I'd rebuilt my life. His betrayal had broken me, but I'd grown stronger. My phone buzzed in my pocket, a message waiting. I didn't check it. I knew it was my boss. Tonight, I was still their boring Laura, the overlooked one. But tomorrow, I'd step into a light they couldn't ignore. My pulse quickened, a mix of dread and defiance. I wasn't just a shadow in their perfect family picture. I was Laura, and I'd earned my place, my truth. Have you ever felt unseen by those closest to you? Where are you listening from? Share your story below. Rain streaked my apartment windows, blurring Seattle's gray skyline. I stirred my coffee, its bitter warmth steadying my hands. 5 years ago, divorce papers sat on this table, cold, final. His affair had carved a hollow ache in my chest. I rebuilt for Sophie, my daughter, my reason to breathe. At 42, I was a senior auditor, my pride hard-won. My apartment smelled of Sophie's paints, vibrant and alive. Her sketchbook lay open, our half-drawn faces smiling softly. I touched the page, love and guilt twisting inside me. I'd missed her art show last month, stuck at work. Her quiet disappointment lingered a weight in my heart. The audit firm was my refuge, all glass and steel. My desk stacked with reports glowed under flickering lights. Emails pinged, each a thread in my web of truth. I loved the precision, uncovering lies hidden in numbers. Each discovery felt like reclaiming a piece of myself. My family saw only boring Laura counting pennies. Sunday dinners at Mom and Dad's were relentless judgment. Their suburban home smelled of coffee walls lined with memories. The dining table, worn smooth, held years of silent slights. Emily, my sister, dazzled them with her lawyer tales. Another big case, Em. Dad's eyes lit up, ignoring me. I'd nod, force a smile, my heart sinking lower. Their dismissal pressed against me, heavy, suffocating, familiar. I sat there, fork in hand, feeling like a ghost. Why did their words still cut after all these years? Flashback to 2018. I signed those papers alone, trembling. He'd left for someone more exciting, his betrayal sharp. Sophie, just 11, clung to me, tears soaking my sweater. I promised her we'd be enough, voice raw but firm. I worked late, audited through nights, rebuilt our life. That scar burned hidden beneath my practiced smiles. I'd lie awake wondering if I'd ever escape their shadow. Was I enough, or just the sister who faded away? Sophie, now 16, was fierce, her sketches bursting with color. She'd text from school, "Mom, you're my rock." Her words were oxygen pulling me through their scorn. Last week, Emily's new watch gleamed, catching my eye. "Client gift," she said, her gaze sliding away quickly. Doubt crept in, cold, sharp nagging at my mind. Did she ever see me as more than the lesser sister? I pushed the thought down, but it lingered heavy. At work, I led a $2 billion national audit project. My team's respect warmed me, their trust a rare gift. "Laura, you nailed that discrepancy," Sarah said, smiling broadly. Her praise pierced the fog of my family's indifference. I hadn't told them about the project, the promotion waiting. They'd scoff, call it just numbers, voices dripping pity. I'd spent years proving myself to eyes that didn't see. Each dinner, I sat silently, my worth buried deep. Their laughter echoed a reminder of my invisibility. I'd drive home, Seattle's rain blurring my windshield, heart heavy. This morning, Sophie hugged me, her backpack heavy with dreams. "You'll kill it at the conference, Mom," she said. Her faith sparked a fire I'd nearly let die. I gripped my mug, its warmth fading in my hands. The conference loomed, a chance to claim my truth. I drove to Mom and Dad's, rain drumming my car. Their house stood unchanged, porch light, dim, unwelcoming. Inside, Emily's boasts, Mom's pity. Dad's shrugs awaited me. My phone buzzed, an urgent email from my boss. I didn't open it. I knew it was about tomorrow. My secret stayed locked, a quiet strength growing inside. I parked the steering wheel, cold under my fingers. Their words couldn't define me, but they still stung. My heart pounded, dread and defiance wrestling within. I stepped out, coat damp air, thick with wet pine. The scent pulled me back to childhood before comparisons. Emily's awards lined their walls, mine tucked away, forgotten. I adjusted my scarf, its wool soft against my skin. The porch creaked underfoot, a sound etched in memory. My reflection flickered in the door's glass, faint, fleeting. To them, I was the quiet one, the invisible sister. But I knew who I was becoming despite their blindness. I'd built this life brick by painful brick for us. Sophie's belief drowned out their doubts, fueling my resolve. I exhaled, my breath visible in the chilly air. Their laughter would fill the house, sharp and excluding. But my secret was a shield, one they couldn't pierce. I wasn't begging for their approval any longer. I turned the door handle, its cold metal grounding me. The dining room awaited, warm but heavy with judgment. I'd sit through their words, their glances, their dismissal. My fingers brushed my coat, damp from the rain. Tomorrow I'd step into a light they couldn't ignore. I wasn't just Laura, the one they called useless. I was a woman who'd earned her place unseen. I stepped inside, ready to face their familiar scorn. Emily's laugh pierced the dining room, sharp and untouchable. The candlelight flickered, casting shadows on Mom's faded tablecloth. I sat quietly, my fork heavy in my trembling hand. Mom's voice sliced through Laura. "Your job's so ordinary, isn't it?" Her words stung, a familiar wound reopening in my chest. Dad nodded, slicing his steak, his eyes fixed on Emily. Sophie's foot nudged mine under the table, soft grounding. My smile was tight, masking the ache I carried. The suburban Seattle house smelled of roasted garlic and coffee. Family photos lined the walls, my face fading in frames. Emily bragged about her $1 million case, voice dripping confidence. Such a star, Dad said, his pride never reaching me. I sipped my wine, its chill biting my lips. For years, I'd sat here swallowing their dismissive glances. My heart sank a weight I couldn't shake off. Was I invisible even in my childhood home? Sophie's eyes met mine, fierce with unspoken loyalty. She pushed her peas around, avoiding their endless chatter. I remembered last year's dinner, same table, same scorn. Mom had said Emily's changing lives. What about you, Laura? I'd laughed it off, but the pain lingered raw. Tonight their words carved deeper, etching doubt into me. The napkin in my hand felt rough, anchoring my thoughts. Why did I still crave their approval, their fleeting glance? At work, I'd uncovered fraud in a billion-dollar audit. My team had cheered their respect, warming my core. Sarah's voice echoed Laura. You saved us millions, but here I was, just Laura, the boring one. I hadn't told them about the project, my promotion. They'd never hear me over Emily's shining stories. Sophie whispered, "You're enough, Mom." Her voice steady. Her words lit a spark of defiance in me. The dining room felt smaller, air thick with tension. Mom's old clock ticked each second, stretching my silence. Emily's new watch gleamed, catching the candle's faint glow. I'd seen it last week, her quick client gift excuse. Doubt gnawed at me. Did she hide something deeper? I pushed it away, but it clung sharp cold. The wine glass was icy in my hand, steadying. Their laughter built a wall I couldn't break through. Flashback to 2018, I sat here post-divorce, broken. Dad had said, "You'll never manage alone, Laura." His words had burned, fueling my drive to prove him wrong. I'd raised Sophie, built my career, defied their doubts. But their scorn still echoed a relentless chorus. The table scratches mapped my years of quiet endurance. I wasn't that broken woman anymore, was I? Sophie's nudge pulled me back, her warmth, my lifeline. My phone buzzed in my purse, a silent pulse. I ignored it, knowing it was my boss's email. The conference tomorrow would unveil my hidden truth. I straightened my spine firm against the chair's worn cushion. Their words couldn't erase the work I'd done. I'd caught fraud, saved millions, earned my place. But here I was, still the daughter who disappointed. My pulse raced, defiance rising against their judgment. Mom cleared plates, her sigh heavy with unspoken pity. Emily's voice droned on her stories, drowning mine. I traced the table's edge, its wood worn smooth. Every dinner I'd shrink my worth, buried under their words. But Sophie saw me, her eyes bright with trust. I wasn't invisible, not to her, not to myself. The candle's wax dripped, pooling on the tablecloth. My heart pounded, a quiet resolve taking root. I'd spent years absorbing their doubt, their dismissal. Each slight was a stone piling up inside me. But I'd built a life brick by painful brick. Sophie's faith was louder than their cutting remarks. I glanced at the photos, my younger self smiling faintly. When had I started fading from their story? The clock's ticking filled the room, relentless, steady. I wasn't just their shadow, their overlooked daughter. My fingers brushed the wine glass, its chill grounding me. Tomorrow I'd walk into that conference head high. I'd stand in a light they couldn't dim. Their words had hurt, but they didn't define me. I'd fought for my place, for Sophie, for myself. Emily's laugh rang again, but it felt distant now. I wasn't competing with her, not anymore. My truth was waiting, ready to break free. The dining room's warmth felt stifling, heavy with judgment. Mom's coffee pot hissed its scent sharp in the air. I looked at Sophie, her hand still near mine. Her quiet strength mirrored my own, growing stronger. I'd endured their scorn, but I wasn't broken. The conference was my chance, my moment to shine. I shifted in my chair, its creak a small rebellion. I was ready to prove them wrong, silently, fiercely. The office hummed, Seattle's gray skyline dim beyond glass walls. I scanned audit reports, my pen scratching sharp numbers. My boss's email glowed, Laura, you're vital to this project. At home, I was nothing, just a shadow to them. My family's words echoed, your job's so ordinary, Laura. I gripped my pen, its smooth weight grounding my anger. Sophie's sketchbook sat on my desk, her art my anchor. I wasn't invisible here, not to my team, not anymore. The firm's conference room smelled of coffee and crisp paper. My laptop screen flickered, rows of data revealing fraud. I'd caught it millions, saved a quiet victory mine. Sarah clapped my shoulder. Laura, you're our secret weapon. Her words warmed me, a stark contrast to Mom's pity. At home, they'd never see this version of me. My heart twisted, torn between pride and lingering hurt. Why did their dismissal still claw at my confidence? Flashback to 2019, I sat alone in this office. Post-divorce, I'd worked late, rebuilding my shattered life. Every number I checked was a step toward independence. I'd promised Sophie we'd be enough no matter what. Dad's voice haunted me. You'll never manage alone. I had managed, but their doubts still stung deep. The conference loomed, my chance to prove them wrong. My fingers tapped the keyboard, steady but restless. Back in the present, I prepared for tomorrow's conference. The firm buzzed with excitement, banners, ready, lights bright. My promotion was coming, a title I'd earned silently. I hadn't told my family, fearing their mocking laughs. Emily's voice rang in my head. Another big case. Her success always overshadowed mine. A relentless comparison. I adjusted my glasses, their frames cool against my skin. I wasn't competing, but why did I feel small? Sophie bounded in after school, her backpack slung low. Mom, you nervous about the conference? She asked, grinning. Her face steadied me, brighter than the office fluorescence. I showed her my slides numbers dancing on the screen. You're a hero, Mom, she said, her voice firm. Her words were sunlight cutting through my family's shadow. The office clock ticked its rhythm, urging me forward. Tomorrow I'd stand tall, my truth finally seen. But then, a text from Mom: dinner tomorrow, Laura. My stomach sank. They'd been invited to the conference. They'd see me, my work, my moment of triumph. Would they scoff, or would they finally understand? I stared at the text, my phone cold in my hand. Flashback to last Christmas. Emily's gifts outshone mine. Mom had said, Laura, you try, but Emily shines. That memory burned, fueling my quiet resolve. I walked to the office window, rain streaking the glass. Seattle's lights blurred a city that never judged me. At work, I was vital, respected, a problem solver. At home, I was the daughter who always fell short. My heart raced, defiance mixing with old insecurities. I'd spent years proving myself to eyes that didn't see. The conference was my stage, my chance to break free. I wasn't just Laura, the one they called useless. My desk phone rang, pulling me back to now. Sarah's voice: Laura, the CEO wants you on stage. My breath caught, pride and fear tangling inside. I'd present the fraud findings, my work in the spotlight. But my family would be there, their eyes on me. Would they see the woman I'd become, or nothing? I tucked Sophie's sketchbook under my arm, its weight comforting. I was ready, but their judgment still loomed large. The office air smelled of ink and polished wood. I reviewed my slides, each number a piece of me. 5 years ago, I'd been broken, discarded, unseen. His affair had shattered me, but I'd rebuilt stronger. Every late night, every report had led to this. My family's words couldn't erase my hard-won truth. I straightened my blazer, its fabric crisp against my shoulders. Tomorrow, I'd face them, my worth no longer hidden. I drove home, rain drumming the windshield, relentless. Sophie waited, her smile bright in our small apartment. I'd missed her art show, but she never held it against me. Mom, you're gonna crush it, she said, hugging me. Her warmth dissolved the ache of my family's scorn. I glanced at her sketchbook, our faces drawn with love. The city lights glowed outside, a promise of tomorrow. I wasn't invisible, not here, not in my truth. The dining room fell silent, rain tapping softly outside. I stood by the table, dishes cleared, heart sinking low. Mom's voice drifted from the kitchen, Emily's, our legacy, always shining. Her words crushed me, erasing my place in their story. Sophie lingered nearby, her eyes searching mine for strength. My purse's worn leather felt heavy in my hands. The family photos stared down my face, barely there. Was I nothing to them, even after all these years? The Seattle house smelled of coffee and melted candle wax. The tablecloth, frayed at the edges, held childhood memories. I overheard Dad in the living room praising Emily's win. Laura's just there, he said, his voice cold, dismissive. My chest tightened, an ache swallowing my fragile confidence. 5 years post-divorce, I'd rebuilt, yet still felt invisible. Sophie's hand brushed mine, warm, pulling me from despair. Could I keep fighting when they saw me as nothing? Flashback to 2018, I sat here, divorce papers signed. His affair had shattered me, leaving only Sophie's trust. I'd vowed we'd be enough, my voice raw, determined. But tonight their words stripped me bare, wounding deeply. The table scratches mapped years of my silent endurance. My phone buzzed, a faint hum in my purse. Sarah's text glowed, CEOs honoring you tomorrow, Laura. Pride clashed with the pain of my family's scorn. I stepped onto the porch, rain chilling my skin. The porch light flickered, casting shadows on wet boards. I leaned against my car, its metal cold steadying. Their dismissal felt final, like I'd lost my place forever. I'd caught fraud, saved millions, earned my team's respect. Yet here I was, the daughter who never measured up. My breath fogged in the damp air, heavy, slow. Did I need their approval to know my own worth? Sophie followed, her sneakers squeaking on the porch. Mom, don't let them dim you, she said, voice fierce. Her words pierced my fog, a spark in my darkness. I remembered her at 11, clinging to me post-divorce. I'd rebuilt for her against their doubts, their pity. Tonight I felt like a ghost in my own life. My scarf, soaked by rain, clung heavy to my shoulders. Could I face them tomorrow knowing they'd be there? Inside, Emily's laugh drifted, bright, untouchable, cutting. I'd invited them to the conference, a reckless decision. Would they see my triumph or mock it as always? My fingers traced my car keys, cold, sharp, familiar. Years of proving myself to eyes that didn't see. Sophie stood close, her warmth cutting through the chill. "You're my hero, Mom," she said. Eyes steady, bright. Her faith anchored me, yet doubt still gnawed inside. The house's windows glowed warm but heavy with judgment. Mom's clock ticked inside a rhythm of my childhood. I'd grown up here, always in Emily's dazzling shadow. Their words tonight felt like a final erasure of me. I'd built a career, a home, a life for Sophie. But their scorn made me question my own strength. The rain's steady rhythm calmed my racing heart. Was I still that broken woman or someone new? My phone buzzed again, Sarah's text glowing faintly. Tomorrow I'd stand on stage, my work in light. But my family would be there, their eyes judging. I gripped my purse, its zipper cold against my fingers. I'd earned my place, but their dismissal lingered heavy. Sophie's hand squeezed mine, a silent vow of loyalty. I exhaled, my breath visible in the cold air. Could I fight for their respect, or should I let go? The porch creaked underfoot, a sound etched in memory. I stared at the house, its glow mocking my pain. Every dinner I'd shrunk my worth, buried beneath their words. But Sophie saw me, her trust louder than their scorn. I'd fought for her, for us, through years of doubt. The rain soaked my coat, its weight grounding me. Tomorrow I'd choose stand tall or walk away. My heart pounded defiance, stirring in my core. I looked at Sophie, her face lit by porch light. Her belief was a fire burning away my insecurities. I'd built this life brick by painful brick. Their words couldn't erase the truth I'd earned. The car's wet handle felt solid under my fingers. I wasn't invisible, not to Sophie, not to myself. Tomorrow's stage would show them who I'd become. I turned from the house, ready to face my truth. My apartment was quiet. Seattle's rain tapping the windows softly. I sat at my desk, audit reports spread before me. The lamplight cast a warm glow on Sophie's sketchbook. Mom's words from dinner stung Emily's, our legacy always shining. I wasn't their legacy, but I was Sophie's everything. My pen felt solid, a weapon for my silent fight. I'd invited them to the conference, a reckless choice. Could I face their judging eyes and still stand tall? The office air smelled of coffee and fresh ink. My laptop hummed, its screen alive with fraud evidence. I'd saved millions, my work precise, undeniable, true. Sarah's voice echoed, "Laura, you're our secret weapon." Her praise warmed me, a shield against family scorn. I rehearsed my speech, my heart pounding with resolve. The conference was tomorrow, my truth ready to shine. Did I still need their approval to feel whole? I met Karen, my lawyer friend, at a downtown cafe. The espresso machine hissed, its bitter scent grounding me. Karen reviewed my finances, ensuring Sophie's future was safe. "Laura, you're in control," she said, her voice steady. I nodded, but Mom's dismissal echoed sharp, relentless. 5 years ago, I'd rebuilt from divorce's shattered pieces. The cafe table felt smooth, worn under my fingers. I wasn't that broken woman, not anymore, was I? Their words at dinner had reopened old aching wounds. I'd spent years proving myself to eyes that didn't see. My heart ached, but Sophie's faith kept me grounded. Back home, Sophie helped pick my conference outfit. Her laughter filled the room, bright against the rain. "This blazer, Mom," she said, holding up navy wool. Her trust steadied me, a beacon through my doubt. I wasn't just fighting for me, but for her. I practiced my speech, my voice firm in the mirror. The apartment smelled of Sophie's paints, vibrant, alive. My reflection showed a woman I was starting to know. Dad's voice haunted. "You'll never manage alone, Laura." I proved him wrong, raising Sophie, building my career. The rain's rhythm soothed my racing thoughts. My fingers brushed my notes, their edges crisp, worn. Tomorrow I'd step into a light they couldn't dim. At the office, I finalized my presentation slides. The conference room smelled of polished wood, anticipation. My team gathered their trust, a quiet, steady force. Laura, you've got this. Sarah said, her smile warm. I nodded, but my family's presence tomorrow loomed large. Would they see me or just Emily's dazzling shadow? The clock ticked its rhythm, pushing me forward. I wasn't proving myself to them, but to myself. Flashback to 2018, I sat alone post-divorce broken. His affair had left me hollow, questioning my worth. I'd promised Sophie we'd be enough, my voice raw. Every late night, every report rebuilt my strength. Their dismissal at dinner felt like a fresh betrayal. I straightened my notes, their weight grounding my resolve. My heart pounded defiance, drowning out their voice. I was more than the sister they called useless. I drove home, rain streaking my windshield, relentless. Sophie waited, her sketchbook open on the couch. Mom, you're gonna shine, she said, eyes bright. Her words were sunlight piercing my lingering doubt. I'd spent years absorbing their scorn, shrinking smaller. The apartment's warmth wrapped around me, safe, familiar. My blazer hung ready, its fabric crisp, waiting. Tomorrow I'd show them who I'd become silently. I sat with Sophie, her art spread across the table. Her drawings held our story love in every line. I'd missed her art show, guilt still heavy in me. Mom, you're my hero, she said, voice soft, sure. Her trust was louder than my family's cutting words. I tucked her sketchbook away, its weight comforting. The city lights glowed outside, a promise of tomorrow. I wasn't invisible, not to her, not anymore. My phone buzzed, another email from my boss. I ignored it, knowing it held tomorrow's spotlight. Their words couldn't erase the truth I'd built. I'd caught fraud, saved millions, earned my place. My fingers brushed my blazer, its wool soft ready. The rain's steady rhythm calmed my racing heart. I was ready, but their eyes still haunted me. Would you show your strength or stay silent forever? Share your story below. Where are you listening from? The conference hall buzzed, Seattle's skyline gleaming through windows. I gripped my pen, its smooth weight steadying my nerves. The stage loomed ahead, bright lights warming the air. My family sat in the audience, unaware, their faces distant. Mom's words echoed, Laura, your job's so ordinary. I adjusted my blazer, its navy wool, crisp, confident. Sophie's sketchbook was in my bag, my quiet anchor. I was ready, but their judgment lingered, heavy, sharp. The hall smelled of coffee and polished wood floors. My slides were loaded numbers telling my fraud discovery. Sarah whispered, Laura, you're gonna nail this. Her trust warmed me, a shield against family doubt. I glanced at Emily, her watch gleaming under lights. Her smile was tight, unaware of my coming moment. My heart raced, defiance burning through my insecurities. Would they see me now or still call me useless? I reviewed my speech, words etched in my mind. The microphone hummed softly, waiting for my voice. Flashback to last night, I'd practiced in my apartment. Sophie had clapped, her eyes bright with pride. Mom, you're my hero, she'd said, voice unwavering. Her faith drowned out Mom's sighs. Dad's dismissive shrugs. The stage lights glared, pulling me back to now. I wasn't just Laura, the sister they overlooked. The CEO stepped up, his voice booming through speakers. He introduced the project, my work at its core. My family shifted in their seats, faces unreadable. I clutched my pen, its ink smudging my fingers. 5 years ago, I'd rebuilt from divorce's ashes. His affair had broken me, but I'd grown stronger. The hall's air felt thick, charged with anticipation. This was my moment, earned through silent nights. I scanned the crowd, colleagues nodding with respect. The projector hummed my slides, ready to shine. Emily's laughter from dinner echoed, sharp, cutting. Emily's our legacy, Mom had said, erasing me. I straightened my spine, firm against the chair's cushion. I'd caught fraud, saved billions, proved my worth. The pen's weight steadied my trembling hand. I wasn't fighting for their approval, but for myself. Flashback to 2018, Dad's words, you'll never manage. I'd managed, raising Sophie, building my career. Their scorn at dinner had reopened that wound. But Sophie's belief was louder, her trust unwavering. The CEO's voice rose, naming the project's success. My name was next, I felt it, my pulse quickening. The stage lights burned their heat on my skin. I was no longer the daughter who faded away. I stood backstage, my notes crisp in my hand. The hall's carpet smelled faintly of dust grounding. Sarah squeezed my arm, her smile full of faith. My family sat rows away, their eyes on the stage. Would they see the woman I'd become? Finally, I'd invited them, risking their judgment once more. My blazer's fabric brushed my arm steady, sure. This wasn't revenge but truth, my quiet justice. The CEO paused, his gaze sweeping the crowd. He spoke of fraud uncovered, billions saved, lives protected. My colleagues leaned forward, their respect a silent force. I glanced at Mom, her face blank, unknowing. Dad's hands were clasped, his focus on the stage. Emily's watch caught the light, a glint of distraction. My breath steadied the air, cool in my lungs. I was ready to step into my earned light. I walked toward the stage steps, soft on carpet. The microphone gleamed, its stand solid, waiting. My family's presence pressed against me, a heavy weight. I'd spent years proving myself to eyes that didn't see. Sophie's words echoed, "You're gonna shine, Mom." Her faith was my armor, stronger than their doubt. The stage's edge was close, my heart pounding. I wasn't invisible, not here, not now. The CEO turned, his hand gesturing toward me. My name was coming, my truth about to break. The hall's lights dazzled, their glare a fierce embrace. I clutched my notes, their edges worn familiar. This moment was mine, built from years of work. Their words couldn't erase the truth I'd forged. I stepped forward, my pen still in hand. Was this justice, or had I gone too far? The stage lights burned, their heat warming my skin. I stepped forward, the Seattle hall alive with anticipation. The microphone gleamed, its stand solid under my hand. My family sat in the crowd, their faces unreadable, distant. The CEO's voice boomed, "Laura Bennett, our project's hero." Applause crashed over me, drowning my trembling heart. My blazer felt crisp, a shield against their doubt. I wasn't invisible now, not in this light. The hall smelled of coffee and polished wood floors. My slides glowed numbers, weaving my story of triumph. I spoke, voice steady, detailing the fraud I'd uncovered. "Billions saved," I said, each word a hard-won brick. My colleagues leaned forward, their respect a quiet force. Emily's jaw dropped, her watch glinting under lights. My chest swelled, pride silencing her dinner boasts. Was this the justice I'd carried for years? Mom's eyes widened, her hands clasped in shock. Dad sat rigid, his gaze locked on me, stunned. Sophie beamed from the front, her smile my anchor. Her words echoed, "You're my hero, Mom." I gripped the podium, its wood smooth, steadying me. 5 years ago, divorce's wreckage had nearly broken me. The applause roared, filling the ache they'd left. I was Laura, the woman they'd never seen. The light softened as I stepped back, heart racing. The CEO shook my hand, his grip firm, warm. "Laura's work saved us," he said, voice resounding. My family's silence was louder than their past scorn. The hall's air felt thick, charged with my truth. I'd invited them, risking their judgment once more. My pen pressed against me, tucked in my pocket. This wasn't revenge, but a mirror to their blindness. In the lobby, Emily approached, her steps slow, hesitant. "Laura, I didn't know." She stammered, eyes downcast. Her voice cracked, a fracture in her flawless facade. I nodded, my heart calm, no longer craving her praise. Mom and Dad joined, their faces heavy with shame. Dad's hand extended, his grip, tentative, almost reverent. The marble floor gleamed, reflecting their quiet regret. I'd stood tall, my worth no longer theirs to judge. Sophie rushed to me, her hug fierce, enveloping. "You did it, Mom," she whispered, voice thick with pride. Her warmth was sunlight brighter than their belated awe. I held her close, her hair soft against my cheek. The lobby buzzed with colleagues, their congratulations echoing. My family stood apart, their presence small, diminished. The weight of their dismissal lifted, leaving me free. I was enough with or without their eyes. Flashback to 2018, I sat alone, broken, hollow. His affair had shattered me, their doubt had stung. "Laura's just there," Dad had said, erasing my place. I'd rebuilt brick by brick for Sophie myself. The hall's lights faded this moment, settling deep. Their words couldn't erase the truth I'd forged. My blazer's fabric brushed my arms steady, sure. I'd claimed my voice, no longer theirs to silence. Emily spoke again, her apology soft, almost fragile. I underestimated you, Laura, she said, voice breaking. I saw the sister I'd once idolized, now humbled. Her watch caught the light, no longer a taunt. I didn't need her validation, not after this. Mom's eyes glistened, her silence heavy with regret. The lobby's air smelled of flowers, fresh, fleeting. My truth had shown, and that was enough. Dad's handshake lingered, his eyes meeting mine. Laura, I'm proud, he said, voice low, unsteady. His words, once distant, landed softly, almost healing. I nodded, my heart full, no longer yearning. Colleagues patted my shoulder, their warmth a quiet tide. Sophie's smile anchored me, her pride, my legacy. The marble echoed my steps, firm, deliberate, free. I'd walked through their doubt and found myself. The Seattle skyline sparkled beyond the lobby's glass. I left with Sophie, my family trailing behind, quiet. The air outside was crisp, rain no longer falling. I didn't need their applause to know my worth. The pen in my pocket felt light, its work done. I'd face their judgment and emerge stronger whole. The city's lights glowed, a promise of new beginnings. I was Laura, no longer defined by their shadows. My new Seattle apartment glowed, city lights twinkling outside. I set the table, wine glasses catching the chandelier's soft gleam. 6 months had passed since the conference's blinding stage. The framed article about my fraud discovery hung proudly. Sophie adjusted the plates, her smile warm, unwavering. My heart swelled free from the weight of their doubt. The kitchen smelled of roasted herbs and warm bread. I'd found my place, my truth, my home. The dining room was a haven built from our strength. My family was coming, Mom. Dad, Emily, all invited. The conference had shifted them, their eyes finally open. I'd stood tall, my worth no longer theirs to define. Sophie's sketchbook lay open, our faces drawn with love. Her art was my legacy, brighter than any accolade. The tablecloth felt soft, new under my fingers. I wasn't the woman they'd once called useless. Mom arrived, her coat damp from Seattle's rain. She held the framed article, a gift for me. Laura, we're so proud, she said, voice trembling. Her words soothed old wounds, scars I'd carried silently. I smiled, genuine, no longer masking my pain. The apartment's warmth embraced us, safe, forgiving. The rain tapped windows, a rhythm of renewal. I'd rebuilt my life brick by painful brick. Dad followed, his handshake firm, eyes steady. Laura, I was wrong, he said. Voice low, earnest. His apology was a bridge mending years of distance. I felt lighter, their doubt no longer my chain. The scent of wine filled the room, rich, grounding. Sophie lit candles, their flames dancing, casting shadows. I stood in my space, whole, no longer shrinking. Their approval was kind, but I didn't need it. Emily arrived, her watch no longer a taunt. I'm sorry, Laura, she said, her voice cracking. She hugged me, the sister I'd once envied. I saw you finally, she whispered, eyes wet. I hugged her back, my heart open, unburdened. The table was set, a circle of new beginnings. The chandelier's glow warmed us, gentle healing. I'd walked through their scorn to find myself. We sat, glasses clinking, laughter soft and real. Sophie shared her college plans, her voice vibrant. I want to be like Mom, she said, beaming. Her words were my legacy, my heart's deepest pride. I looked at my family, their faces softer now. They saw me, but I'd seen myself first. The bread was warm, its crust crisp, comforting. This was my home, my strength, my truth. Flashback to 2018, I was broken, alone, hollow. His affair had shattered me, their doubt had stung. I'd rebuilt for Sophie, defying their dismissal. The conference had been my stage, my turning point. I'd stood under lights, my truth, undeniable, fierce. Their words, useless, ordinary, had lost their sting. The apartment's glow held me safe complete. I was Laura, no longer bound by shadows. I sipped my wine, its taste rich, grounding me. Mom asked about my work, her curiosity genuine. I shared my voice steady, no longer defensive. Dad listened, his nod, a quiet, earned respect. Emily smiled, her pride no longer a rivalry. Sophie's laughter rang, my greatest treasure always. The candles flickered, their light soft, enduring. I'd found closure not in them, but in me. The skyline sparkled, a canvas of new dreams. I'd moved here, a fresh start for Sophie me. My career thrived, my team's trust, a daily gift. I didn't need their applause to know my worth. The article was just a moment, not my story. My real legacy was Sophie, her strength, her future. The table's wood felt solid, a foundation rebuilt. I was whole, my heart no longer wounded. We cleared plates, the evening settling into peace. Sophie showed Emily her sketches, their laughter blending. Mom helped in the kitchen, her touch gentle now. Dad lingered at the table, his silence thoughtful. I watched them, my family no longer my judges. The rain's rhythm outside was steady, cleansing, soft. I'd fought for my place and found my peace. This was my story, and it wasn't over. I stood by the window, lights reflecting hope. Sophie joined me, her arm around my shoulders. "Mom, you're unstoppable," she said, voice full of love. Her words filled me, my heart finally at rest. I'd walked through pain, doubt to this moment. My family's respect was a gift, not my goal. The apartment's warmth held us, a new chapter. I was Laura, writing my own ending free. Have you ever fought to be seen, truly seen? Share your story. Below, what's your legacy?